attention to themselves. So I refused. And I had a practice session on Saturday. My breath, not too much. It was a little bit loud, not very much. I'm not practicing the violin anymore, and you can't make me. And that was big time sassing, which was just around the corner. She marched through there with her hands on her hips and said, "What did you just say?" So I said it very quickly, thinking that the response I would get out of her would be quick and over with. But she was absolutely quiet. Then she says, "I'm calling your father." Well, he was a piano tuner, so there were piano actions in the basement that he repaired. And also, he repaired stringed instruments, violins, violas, cellos, and basses, and other things. So I used to help him a lot down there, but it seemed forever for him to get his act together, to get up the stairs and come in to the piano room. And my mother said, "Now, you tell your father what you just told me." So I said it very quickly. He was totally quiet. That child didn't ever sass like that. What's going on? Well, my dad took a few seconds, probably, to figure out what it was he was going to say. Then he said, "Well, what do you want to take in its place?" And I didn't know. I hadn't thought that far. If I could get rid of the violin, I'd be happy. So flute crossed my mind. Didn't know anything about a flute. I said, "I want to play the flute." So Dad said, "All right." He stays out of the basement, gets ready to go to town to the music store to see Mr. Tillepaw, and brings home 3 flutes. He said, "Here, try these." I didn't know how to even put it together. So we tried one, and I blew, and nothing. Tried the second one, nothing on that. The third one went squeak, so that's the one we kept. Then Dad said to my mom, "You call Dr. Russell at the university." Dr. Russell was the conductor of the Waterloo Symphony, and both my parents played. So she called Dr. Russell. Now, who in the heck has the head of a music department in the university is going to take time out to take an 11-year-old kid who doesn't know how to play a note on the flute? But he said he would. So I went the next week. My dad didn't take me. I had to learn how to do the bus system and transfer up to the university and walk across the campus, not knowing where the music building was. And so I just kept asking, "Where's the music building?" Finally, I was getting close. And they said, "Just go up these stairs, and the first door on the right will be Dr. Russell's office." So I walk in, and the first week of lesson was just with the head joint, about this long, with the embouchure hole. So you roll it back and forth like this, and you're trying to decide where the best place is to get the best tone. Then he said, "Pretend you're in an auditorium of about 1,000 people, and you're going to play to the person in the back corner. The flute doesn't carry that well, so you're going to have to be more forceful." That's not the word he used, but so I practiced the first week. Then we put the flute together, and since I'd played so much piano, I knew the notes, the timing, everything. But I had to learn the fingering and the tongue action to work with the fingering and get it coordinated. So I was 11 then. There was a little bit of a hitch to all of this. My mom and dad didn't let me quit the violin. I had to play it for 1 more year through the 6th grade. So that added 1 extra hour onto every day's practice. So I practiced 3 hours a day, one on the piano, one on the violin, and one on the flute. Then at 6, I got to give up the violin. Man, I'm on a roller coaster. Well, Saturday night, the old radio, console radio, we all sat in the living room and we listened to Paul Lowell and the Band of Renown or something like that. I don't know what. And he played the Sousa marches and he played lots of other band music, and it was a nice concert for us every Saturday night. And we drank, mind you, one bottle, 12-ounce bottle of Pepsi, divided 4 ways into 3 ounces. And I made sure everybody got the full 3 ounces, no more, no less, and popcorn. So that's how we spent Saturday evening. And one night, a program was on, and they had a flute player playing a piece that just went out of Hades so fast that you couldn't even imagine. And I thought, man, if I can ever get that good, I'll be the best. And I was so excited about it. Dad checked with the music store, and the music had not been published. So I felt quite disappointed. But some years down the road now, and I'm a senior in high school, and every year the high school gave a big early spring program before spring break for Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and Sunday afternoon matinee. And I get a note to come to the principal's office. I was scared to death. I didn't know what I'd done to be called to the principal's office. So I go in there very timidly, and he said, I would like you to play a flute solo for the spring concert. I said, only on one condition. And I thought I was pretty safe, because I said, I want to play that. And I gave him the name of the piece and who it was written by. About 2 weeks later, I get a call to come to the principal's office. Lo and behold, he's got the music, and I'm in trouble because I have about 6 weeks. Well, that music went faster than fast, but I had a superb pianist who was the son of my piano teacher. And he memorized that, and I memorized mine. Thursday night went well. We were both satisfied. Saturday night went better. Friday night. Saturday night, he took off. John took off with that accompaniment like nobody's business. I thought, oh my gosh, we are on a roll. And I played that thing as fast as I could manage it. And the next day, my mom got a telephone call from the other high school band director. He says, your daughter made the hair on my head stand up. She plays so beautifully. But anyway, it was fun. And so those were some of the fun experiences I had growing up. I loved the flute. I fell in love with the flute. The flute was my soul. And by the time I was 14, I was principal flutist in the symphony. So I had a very good time. I wanted to go to Juilliard. My dad flat out turned me down. And I didn't figure out until later why the music world isn't for young girls who don't have any get up and gumption and they're shy. You just don't live in New York City if you can't handle it. So anyway, I chose a different route, and I've enjoyed all of my years of playing either piano or flute. And lo and behold, about 12 years ago, we had a violinist at our concert association perform a German gal. It was just absolutely stunning. I thought, I want to play the violin. I went down and I bought a violin and I took lessons and I played in the symphony. So it kind of went full circle. But anyway, I'll play a few things. I'll announce what they are so you get an idea of age and maybe ability. This isn't a bragging thing on my part. It's just how I grew up and how I handled it, and pretty good results most of the time. Before you turn it off, I'll say one more thing. Is it on? Just let me have it. Okay. I forgot one important thing. My mom was a musician, and she had her own orchestra. So she knew all of the people around the city, and I lived in a town of about 85,000. And she knew who were the best teachers. And she had selected Mrs. Witt and had called her to see whether or not Mrs. Witt would take me on as a student. And the answer was no, because she had no openings. So my mother now is going to be doing a little sleuthing and conniving. She had a friend who played piano, and she belonged to the Federation of Music Clubs in Waterloo. And my mom asked Mrs. Smith to sponsor me, and she did. So the first time I'm on to perform for the music club, I was 8, and I played a violin solo called The Mosquito Dance by Tchaikovsky, and it was plucking, which is just plucking the strings, and argo, which would be bowing, and got that under my belt. The next month, Mom asked her to support me, and I would do a piano number. And she knew that Mrs. Witt was going to be there, so this was for Mrs. Witt to take notice.
Do you want me to put it back in here?
I don't want the one when I play, I don't think.
Just pull it back when you're ready.
So I was 8 years old.
Yeah, but they can't hear you.
Oh. I was 8 years old, and this piece is called Tumbling Creek. Let me explain it a little bit to you. The way I do my music is I create a story. So if you can set yourself in a country setting or someplace quiet where there's a nice little brook, maybe some rocky areas, maybe some little teeny waterfalls or serenity, you'll hear all of that in the piece, and I hope I can make that feeling come across to you. So at the very last, you have to understand that the water is falling over a small rise, and it's splashing down into a pool, and the drops are delicately sprayed. And you'll understand when I play the last 2 chords why I say that. But I like to be creative with the story and be able to tell a story with my music. That afternoon, after my performance, Mrs. Witt called my mother, and she had an opening. I heard on Facebook something that was rather intriguing to me, and it wasn't hard. It's just playing an octave, and then you come down the scale. So here's your octave, and then you're coming down the scale. Then you have another octave, and down the scale. So I thought I could probably make something kind of nice out of that. So I sat down to the piano and worked a little bit on what I thought I wanted to create. So you'll hear some rubatos, which is slowing down, or maybe you'll hear a little bit of rushing when you're coming down the scales. Again, you can think of a waterfall where the water falls faster. And then when you're going up the scale, it's much slower. So I've tried to put those things into my playing of this, and it really is quite soft and quite serene and actually lovely. Not my interpretation, but the melody was there for me to work with. I don't know what to play next. A rendition of The Sparrow. Too many wrong notes, they wouldn't have passed muster. I love Silent Night. That's probably my favorite Christmas number. But I like modern things. So this has a little bit modern twist. And I think I've played it before, but I'll play it again if I can recall it. I want to play one of Doris's favorites. Let's see. Trying to think. I can't think. All right, I'll play something else. This was one of my favorite competition pieces when I was a little older. And it's just called Canzonetta. And it's very soft and very pretty. I think I'll finish up with one that I had a little trouble with on a Sunday morning, which was called Jesus Loves Me, and I had a brain freeze and couldn't get past a certain point, so I just created something and quit. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. And I thought maybe I'd have 10 or 12, but I'm glad I see 15 or 20. I don't know. I will miss all of you, and I hope, and Doug is going to find out for me what Christian church might be close to where I am going to be. And I've checked some places, and all they have is the electronic pianos. No, thank you. I can't handle that. I can't do anything with an electronic piano. So I like to be more expressive. And another thing that's sort of missing is my quilts are waiting for me. So, thank you.